Hi guys, so if I do shake, it's because the aircon is so cold and I'm not anxious at all. Okay, wait. Alright, so there's some backstory about me. So my grandmother and my grand-sisters actually call me Pelongi. Basically what happened was that they were trying to learn Afrikaans, but they failed and they decided that they'll utilize kleine woorde for every second word to make it seem as though they're Afrikaans, but truly they didn't. And I spent most of my childhood with my grandparents, my cousins, and SFC 1, 2, and 3. So yeah. Like many other South Africans, my household broke traditional norms and came to nuclear families. About 53% of South Africans don't live with their parents. There's a mixture of reasons: historically population control, labor, migration, cultural practices, and education opportunities. In my case, a mixture of both elements saw me living with my grandmother until I was 18. My grandmother was the original mom manager, managing my life, my mom's life, my grandfather's life, and about 35% of my cousins' lives. So every Sundays, she'd make sure that she'd manage our spiritual life. We wore our Sunday best clothes, and she'd be slaying in a dramatic hat while I was smeared in Vaseline, gleaming in church. It was horrid times, and trying my best to sit still in pews. Sundays also about me being Dora the Explorer. These excursions actually introduced me to the public transport industry, and little did I know that this could actually be a career path for me. I'm sure you're thinking, oh no, oopsie, all young children learn from everything that they see, from what their parents teach them, what TV tells them, and what their friends tell them. So when Mrs. Kempthorne asked the class what they wanted to be, it wasn't really a surprise when the boys chose to be doctors or firemen or policemen, because they were trying to execute their masculinity. And females, all the girls in my class, decided to choose careers that were more oriented around health, beauty, and around the household. So they were like nurses and teachers and boring things like that. And then my time came. My career choice challenged my grandmother, society, and my mom. I simply answered that I want to be a taxi driver and own taxis all over the world. And I'm sure you're asking yourself, why and how did that come about? So basically, I come from a very matriarchal family. My gran and 6 of her sisters own several successful businesses in a small rural town called Moshaneng, about 50 kilometers outside of Botswana in northwest. And these ladies, some of them actually were doing their honors, some were just completed their matric, others decided that marriage wasn't for them, whilst others were actually celebrating their 30th anniversary. And I saw that empowered women were empowering each other, respecting each other's autonomy, and that impacted how I viewed the world as a toddler. So what is autonomy? Autonomy derives from the Greek word called autonomous, and it can divide into two concepts. Auto means self, and numerous means law. So these iron ladies were living their own lives, following their own rules, while remaining free from controlled interference, specifically from men. That's exactly what I did when I decided that I was going to be a taxi mogul who was solely going to employ female taxi drivers. Right, I still love my childhood dream, but ultimately I decided that advertising would be the applicable career path. A week later, I decided to disclose this information to my grandmother, just before Generations played. And all she could say was, ooh, shoot, Pelongi, maybe you'll work in a company like Achi and Karabo Morocco. Now, for those who don't know you, Achi and Karabo Morocco had an advertising agency. And I'm also pretty sure that she was actually questioning herself as to why she'd take me to such a prestigious Catholic school, and this is what the results were. However, I was privileged that my family understood that children are self-determining individuals, and they have their own rationale to follow. And that it is vital for parents not to forcefully impose any of their desires, but rather to guide them and be their safety net. 17 years later, I find myself in this industry where it's still the boys' club, where males make 51% of our management positions and only 20% are seated by females. This is problematic. because if white men dominate as strategists and creative directors, each play a big role in insights. The strategist is responsible for gathering information that will be leading to insights, and the creative director is responsible for visually communicating this with target audience. So if the majority of them come from the same background, same ethnic group, same sexual orientation, they're more likely to produce homogeneous strategies that are based on harbored stereotypes and unconscious bias. Stereotypes limit people's capabilities. I was only 9 when I was first exposed to gender stereotypes. The boys and girls in my class were separated in terms of gender when it came to extramural activities. The girls were introduced to cultural activities such as music, drama, and poetry, whilst the boys had to do sports like athletics, swimming, and soccer. Now this confused me because I was passionate about drama and hockey. I wanted to play hockey at a national level whilst being in Sotsi to playing against Terry Petal. So I had to limit my aspirations and decided to join the drama club, simply because I was tired of being called a tomboy and the boys were mean and they were playing with my skirt. Horrible. Not really, but in extreme cases, stereotypes are actually responsible for many killings. A prime example is the incel community. Incels are heterosexual men who are part of an online community of misogynists. They define themselves as being unable to have a romantic relationship or a sexual partner, despite their desires of having one. They are thus involuntary celibate and blame women for denying them the reason of having sex. Stacies are women who reject incels for chads. Stacies are defined as curvy women who have their face beat, nice hair, and ooze sex appeal. These women apparently only date chads. Chads are the masculine men who are financially stable and charismatic, basically the macho man. So incels are men who feel deeply inadequate because they don't fit in the concept of toxic masculinity. They feel like losers and ashamed. While this caused, in 2009, a mass killing in Pennsylvania, and the killer named George Sturren, and he was determined to overtake Stacy's and Chad's. Incels have currently been responsible for 4 mass killings. It's an extreme example, but a sobering one. The incel community is essentially fueled by toxic messages on public platforms, the same platforms that brands use to reach their target audience. We, as advertisers, have the ability to shift perceptions, educate society regarding major issues such as identity construction, representation, and gender issues. Our strength in the industry has the ability of changing 35 million South Africans through TV, social media. It's time for us to debunk gender stereotypes and to produce excellent ads that are relevant and represent South Africa as a whole. This can only be achieved when gender stereotypes have been dismantled and when women are truly embraced and not silenced. Thank you.